Today, Sony have launched the successor to their very popular flagship cinema camera. This is the Venice 2. So the original Venice has started to become really widely adopted over the last few years for feature films and streaming shows alike, like The Crown for Netflix and the new Top Gun film, for example. I mean, you only have to go visit Sony's Sony Cine website to see just how many huge productions have chosen Venice over the last few years. But now we have a new generation, the Venice 2. Physically, it looks quite similar at first glance, but it is a bit smaller and lighter overall than the original. This is really impressive, as Sony have managed to fit a huge amount of their technology inside. So let's start by talking about the sensor. And you can actually choose between two, either the original much loved 6K Venice sensor, and you can put the sensor block from the actual original Venice into the new Venice 2 body if you want to, or you get the new 8.6K sensor. Now this new sensor has a maximum resolution of 8640 by 5760, and Sony are claiming 16 stops of latitude, while they said 15 plus on the original sensor. So it's going to be interesting to see what the dynamic range difference is between the two sensors out in the real world. Surprisingly though, the sensor has a dual native ISO that is higher than the original. It's 800 and 3200, and Sony are claiming it is significantly better in low light because of that. Now it could also in part be because of the advantages of downsampling from a higher resolution, as that does lower the noise field down significantly, and with 8.6K recording you get plenty of room for downsampling for 4K production. But whatever the reason for the better low light, the footage that has been shown so far by DPs that have had the camera is just beautiful. And in front of the sensor is the same 8 steps of mechanical ND filters, which are some of the best performing internal NDs on the market. The other big change here though is in the recording options. So the original Venice relied very heavily on bolting their R7 recorder onto the back. The original could go up to 4K 60p XAVC recording with just the camera body itself. Add the full frame license and you could get the full sensor width in 6K up to 60p, and with the high frame rate license you could go up to 120p in a 4K crop. And for RAW recording, Sony have their fantastic XOCN codec, which is one of the best RAW formats on the market. But in order to record it, you needed to have that R7 recorder. Now you can do XOCN and 4K ProRes 444 and XAVC internally, which is very welcome and will make a big difference to people's workflows. With the full 3x2 sensor, you can get up to 30p, and with a 17:9 crop on that, you get 8.2K at 60p. Head into the Super 35mm crop mode and you get 5.8K resolution, which is of course a huge advantage of having such a high starting resolution in the first place. Once you get into that Super 35mm crop mode, you still end up with a very respectable resolution indeed. In 6x5 anamorphic mode, which I imagine will be a popular choice, you can get up to 48 frames a second, and in regular 17.9, but in this Super 35 mode, you can get up to 90 frames a second. So not as high as the original Venice once you cropped into that, but that's to be expected with the extra resolution, and remember that you can still choose to use the original 6K sensor if you need the higher frame rates, if you would prefer to. For media, we get Axs cards, just like on the R7 recorder, and there's a new high-speed A1TS66 Axs card which can handle up to 6.6 gigabits a second, which you'll need to record that 8K 60p. Apart from that, the body design is so similar that most other Venice accessories should still fit fine, including the current extension system, which lets you effectively take the front of the sensor block off the camera and just separate it from the rest of the body with just a cable connecting them. This is a really unique feature of the Venice, and it is so great that the current extension unit is going to work on this new model. However, they have said that there is a new one coming in early 2023, which seems a long way off, so it's going to be interesting to see what functionality that adds over the current version. We're going to have to wait and see. So overall, the Venice 2 is everything that the original Venice was and way more. You can keep the current 6K sensor and get a smaller body with the functionality of the R7 recorder built in, or you can upgrade to this new 8.6K sensor to just take things up a big notch. More resolution and downsampling potential, better low light, and possibly more dynamic range. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see these cameras cropping up more and more on large productions over the next few years. If you want any more information on the Venice 2, please do get in touch. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.